Hi, Mark and Tamil Kenny with Think Multifamily. We're here today to talk to you about Step 11, preparing your investor documents. There are 4 documents when you're raising money from investors that you will need. Mark, can you start off by telling our audience about the ISQ and what is ISQ?
Yeah, the Investor Suitability Questionnaire. So the ISQ is basically a document that an investor would fill out, and it's to see whether they're eligible to invest in the deal. So if you remember, we talked a little bit about raising money, whether you can do it or not, and we'll talk in the next step about even further with Regulation D. But for here, if someone fills out the document, we want to see are they accredited or not, which we talked about previously, what accreditation means, or it means. And if they're not, then do they understand the risk involved in the syndicator's experience? Do they understand the risk involved in the deal? So it's going to ask them, things around their name, social security number. It's going to have things around their net worth, how much money they make, and their ranges, so you don't put the exact numbers in there. But the whole goal is to produce a document that the syndicator lead can look at to determine whether that investor is suitable for the investment or not.
Okay, good. So can you also tell us about the second document required in this process, and that's the PPM, or Private Placement Memorandum?
Yeah, so the PPM, Tamil mentioned, Private Placement Memorandum, is a very long document. The goal of people use the analogy if you go into the doctor and get your toenail clipped and you have to sign a paper saying you could die, right? All the risk involved with it, right? So this is explaining all the risk involved with an investment. So, if you look at a PPM document, if you do a search on, let's say, the word risk, you're probably going to see it, 50 plus times in a PPM document, a lot, right? So the whole goal is to say, hey, there's risk involved in this. It's going to have a business plan, for example. It's going to go through and talk about the splits, what does the investor get versus what does the syndicator get, the raise amount. So you should have, typically we'll see a low minimum raise and a high raise. So let's say it's between 1 and 1.5. It'll have that range in there. And this talks a lot about the risk involved, that it's a new company and things could go wrong.
Right.
But it's laying out the structure of the deal.
Okay, great. Next will be the company agreement. What can our investors expect to see in a company agreement?
The company agreement is going to basically lay out the framework. So it's going to have, someone's going to repeat it from the PPM. So you start reading the documents like, didn't I just read this? Well, you might have. But company agreement's going to have the splits again. Who's getting what? It's preferred returns, 80-20s, but whatever the splits are. It's going to have who is responsible for voting. So can managers be removed, yes or no? If they can, based on what? Who votes whether the property is going to sell or refinance, or who makes the decisions on different things. So typically, if you're a passive investor coming into a deal, you're going to have very, very little voting rights. You can't have everyone trying to run the property. You put your trust in the syndicator, the leads, and the leads make most of those decisions there. But it's basically the structure of when they get distributions, what they're based off of, what the splits are, voting rights, and those type of things.
Okay, good to know. And then the last document required for raising money would be the subscription agreement.
So the subscription agreement, we've gone through these other documents, the investor reviewed the PPM and company agreement. Now they're saying, I'm ready, I'm signing up, I'm going to give you $100,000.
Okay.
It's basically them putting in, I'm going to invest $100,000. They write that in there. They're going to say the number of units. So units is kind of, if you want to say, usually it's for $100,000, 100 units. This is a general statement. Think of it as like a stock or whatever, but it's not stock. But it's basically them detailing out, again, my name, my information about who I am, where I'm located, and then I'm going to invest this amount of money in the deal, and then I sign it saying I'm going to invest that much money in the deal. And then last thing, after they've gone all through these steps, then they wire the funds.
Okay, so my question to you as a new investor, if I am sent a bunch of documents from somebody who has a deal and offering, do they send me all of these documents all at once, or are they like step 1, step 2, step 3, and so on?
It depends. Generally speaking, we usually combine all documents into a single PPM document, which makes it 120-ish, 130 pages, somewhere around there.
Okay.
You don't have to do it that way. They can be separate documents. Some leads will actually send someone just the ISQ first, a questionnaire to say, hey, are you even qualified to invest?
Right.
If not, don't waste your time looking at these other documents. So there's no rule of how you do it. It's just whatever's easiest.
Okay, and say I want to invest in, say, your deal, and then you have another deal 2 months later and I want to invest in that deal. Do I have to recomplete all of these forms because you already know me and you've already taken my money once?
You do. You need to complete them again.
Okay.
First of all, the only document would be remotely similar would be the ISQ, but things can change. From today to tomorrow, things can change. So the lead or syndicator should be getting a new ISQ for every single deal. And these documents are all the same, unique for the deal.
Okay. All right. That's all we have on step 11, preparing your investor documents. Stay tuned for step 12. Bye for now.
Bye.